Blue. Desktop audio on. I guess we're live. Hello. Good evening. How's it going? It's been a week, I think, right? Or more, actually. It's like a week and a half. Because my last stream was last Thursday. So here we are. Hello. Good evening. Hang on. I just want to put on some music real quickly. Where did I put them? It's right here. Can you guys hear that? Okay, the mic didn't pick it up. There's someone taking care of some cars parking in the background. Where are they? It's right here. Let me just open one song. Okay. It's a bit loud. Tune it down a bit. Where's the playlist? There you go. Let's play something else. Okay, as long as the audio doesn't touch the yellow, it should be fine. I think that's what we've established before. Yeah, so it should be fine. Okay, so what are we going to do tonight for this evening? The plan is to go through the recent decision to increase Indonesia's fuel subsidy. It's pretty controversial, but it's been long overdue, suffice to say. There's a lot of factors that go into it, but for some context, I suppose, maybe before that, I already have several articles that I want to go through. When I promoted the stream on my Twitter and my Instagram, I posted a screenshot of Sri Mulyani, our Ministry of Finance, during the press conference on what she's planning to do, or what the government is planning to do with our fuel subsidy. We will cover that press conference as well at one point. Do we want to do it? So the order of things that I want to go through is first the new prices, which I haven't actually looked at. Fortunately, initially I wanted to go through this topic on Thursday, but turns out the official announcement was, I believe it was yesterday. Yeah, so I guess it's kind of better. So good thing that I do it now, because now we actually have an official price. And there are several articles that I want to go through after that, like the general, and also, there's several stuff about why did we decide to increase the fuel price despite the global trend seems to be declining right now. Of course, I mean, if you spend 5 minutes thinking about why, it's honestly obvious. And then some criticism about after the price was increased, and then we'll watch the press conference. I guess that's how we're gonna do it. Because the press conference is specifically on the fuel subsidy, so that would be good to see, to watch afterwards, and just funneling into several subsidy related stuff, articles, and of course we need to complement that with a Twitter thread as well. Faris did a pretty good Twitter thread about it, Faris Abdul Rahman, and he also cited several articles that we will go through, one from Conversation and one is from Faisal Basri, one of our most renowned economists. We're gonna read that as well. And I understand that government tried to compensate for the price increases by increasing or introducing, I'm not entirely sure, but basically they've allocated additional cash transfer for low-income households, which I mean, it's conceptually speaking is understandable why they would do that and why it's technically preferable to the current fuel subsidy scheme that we have. Although BLT, not to be mistaken with our sandwich, with the sandwich, is quite controversial within its own merit, because it's known to be, I think it was a policy that was introduced back during SBA's presidency. I'm not sure, but the controversy is because it is known that the BLT, the cash transfer, the money doesn't exactly get transferred completely to the low-income households. Like there are tons of stakeholders, let's call it that, who intervene and take the piece out of the allocated amount. Hence, when the moment that they actually arrive at the recipients, at the low-income households, they don't receive the full amount. It's a pretty well-known fact with little to no follow-up, at least as far as I know from the media cycle and whatnot. That's why people kind of push back on it, even though, again, that's more of an institutional critique instead of the policy itself. Because, like, in my personal belief, and as many people as well, actually. Hello, boo boo. Yeah, prices increase, but not in terms of salary. That's actually that's definitely a point that we can explore, because it also plays into how the lack of change in our fuel prices, and with that our fuel subsidy, how it also kind of bolsters a car dependent society. Because it kind of distorts the perception that owning a car is affordable, when in fact, if we take out the subsidy, if we leave it to the market price, it might not be affordable. So what would happen if it's not affordable? Then there will be more push for public transportation, for instance. Because right now people don't really think of using public transportation because might as well use a car. Not to mention there's a social layer that comes with it as well, that owning a car is a sign of wealth, show of status and whatnot. Yeah, there are those factors. I think the music is a bit too loud. I do agree though that especially with the recent minimum wage policy, that kind of undermines our purchasing power in a number of ways. It's insane how house prices increased multiple times, but salary raise only happens once in a blue moon. True, correct, yes. That is why we need to have more public housing. We need to limit property investment. I think that's one of the main things that really disrupts the market, the housing market, because then people don't exactly use them to live in them, but for investments, which, well, I mean, if you're talking about investment, of course it would disproportionately benefit the wealthy. I mean, the thing about houses, by the end of the day, you only need one. I mean, at max, maybe two. If you're super wealthy, maybe you need, a holiday villa, let's say. But then you don't need like multiple properties in one city, right? But since we've introduced property as investment vehicles, then these wealthy people purchase these properties, restoring the prices in a way that, because they could afford higher prices, then incentivizing the developers to create more expensive apartments, condos, housing, etc. And for us, people from the middle class or even low-income households, especially low-income households, then they simply couldn't afford a decent living space. Then they have to resort to places that are inhumane. There's like a huge ripple effect that stems from that one thing, allowing people to use property as an investment. That's just fucked up. I need a holiday house for my dog. Oh god. These people, honestly. But yeah, where do I stand on this? I guess we can prompt this first before we go through the articles. One is that I think I've hinted at this, that the fuel price increases is long overdue. The thing is, like, the pushback could have been mitigated, although not fully removed, if, say, the increases were gradual, if they've done it over the span of several years, as we slowly move from the blanket subsidy that we have right now, where everyone can purchase the fuel at subsidized price, to then move towards a more targeted subsidy, where only low-income households are eligible for the subsidy. That would have been the ideal scenario. But here we are. Suddenly we have a sudden external shock, the war in Ukraine, with Russia involved, who's one of the main producers of fuel, disrupting the market and increasing the prices and whatnot. And we simply couldn't take it anymore. That we have no choice but to increase the price. We've reached that point at the moment. And the price increases, like I saw that, for instance, like Pertalite, it was increased to 10,000. I think that's because I use Pertalite. Although, and it was increased to 10,000 from 7,000, I think, or something. I'm not entirely sure. I think that's a pretty significant increase. Same goes with solar. And I saw an article saying that Pertamax didn't get increase. It was actually lowered for some reason. I'm not sure. That's one of the articles that I want to go through. Although in the more recent announcement, I believe it was also increased, which I guess shit, I lost my train of thought. Fuck. Okay, I guess this is a good segue to actually start reading the articles. So we got, this is the press conference. I think we can, leave a like. Hello. 106,000 subscribers, not bad for a government account. So we got the official new prices. Let's start with that. I wonder where it would go. Which tab? Hello? Wait, what? Why won't it open? Hello? Open link. Is that? Where does it go? Nani? No. Okay, copy. Or how do you open links from there? Oh man. Hang on. Apologies for the technical difficulties. Select link or edit link? What? This is not how it's supposed to be. I hope this is not the same for the others. If not, it will be very annoying. Oh no, it is. It doesn't save the link. Why? It just referenced the documents instead of what? Oh, it's supposed to be address. Okay, maybe that's why. That's why I did it wrong. Okay, I need to dig up my history then. Don't worry. Just give me a sec. It's a bit of a disaster. Lesson learned, I guess. Or did I put it in the... Oh, I searched it in my other browser. You know what? Okay, new strategy. Let's just type in the thing. I think this is the article that I read. So this one, I hate Compass so much. The layout is really annoying, like full of ads, so distracting. It's really difficult to focus on the article. So here it says they even have like the same ad like multiple times. Why? God. Anyway, so Pertalite, Solar, and also Pertamax. So this is the recent, the official decision. So it was increased starting yesterday at 2:30. I think there was a press conference from the Ministry of Mineral and Resources. They did it in the, what is it? The National Palace? It's not National Palace. What is it called? Istana Kenegaraan, right? So the price was increased from 7,500 for Pertalite to 10,000. That's how many percent? Let's see. 7,650 equals that divided by 7,650. That's a 30% increase. That's crazy. And for Solar is from, it's not as significant. No, wait, it's still significant. This is a 30% increase as well. By God, okay. For Pertamax is from 12,500 to 14,500. How come it's more rounded, the number? So that's a 2,000 increase, right? Divided by 12,500, that's 16%. So the lowest increase. So the increase in the amount of subsidies that needs to be allocated is one of the inciting incidents as to why this decision was made. Our Ministry of Finance said that we had to increase 198 trillion to the amount of budget allocated for that. If we don't increase Pertalite and Solar. Solar is for diesel, by the way. As of now, it has been pegged, pegged, at 500 trillion. Whoa. It's already a 350 trillion increase from the initial budget of 152. Damn. That's insane. That's like more than 100% increase. However, with rising prices and depreciating currency. Really? Exchange rate IDR? No, I want it to be the other way around. United States dollar to Indonesian rupiah. There you go. Has it been depreciating? Well, sorry, I'm dumb. It has been depreciating, bordering to 15,000 again, I guess. Although it wasn't as bad as it was in July. Okay. If you don't increase it, then it will go beyond 500 trillion. Okay, that's it. Pretty short and sweet. Let me try to get the other articles that I've read. Where's my other browser? There you go. Just give me a moment, okay? What's the next thing that I want to read? Right, that thing. You know what, let's just search for it. I think this is the other article that I want to read. And this is the criticism. Okay. Note to self, just use one browser to search for it so it's easier. Go away. Light. So Brent prices, huh? Brent is one of the benchmark we normally use. Yeah, let's just use investing then. It's 93 at the moment. Okay. Can I get a chart? Whoa, okay. It's fluctuating like crazy. Let's give it 1 month. Ooh, yeah, that's a pretty significant increase. But I thought it was supposed to be always monthly. Okay. But like in 2022, it increased from 95 to 120. I guess that's pretty significant. But then it's been decreasing ever since then. Still higher compared to how it was back in 2015, I guess. All right. The next thing. Wait. Oh, and then the explanation. Increase in global oil prices cannot be used as a benchmark in determining fuel prices. Oh, let's not use this song. Hang on. This is like the ending song. There you go. Okay. Cannot be used as a benchmark. The prices are decreasing every day, but cannot be used as a long-term benchmark in determining our subsidy. On top of that, most of the supposed subsidized fuel are mostly used by the middle class, I guess. People who can actually afford. This is one of the controversy as well, which we will get to after this. Which is honestly like, we'll talk about it once we reach that point. I have a lot to say about this subsidy. So Pertamina is currently preparing a system so the distribution of subsidized fuel is more accurate. Okay, it's supposed to be the My Pertamina thing, right? Which, oh yeah, we do need to search for that as well. So maybe put that here then. What was it? Excuse me. Search for My Pertamina. Because I heard that there were several changes, right? That initially it was for vehicles that are manufactured before a certain year, but past a certain point you're not eligible for Pertalite. But now the engine size is also considered. So we can look into that later on. So to compensate, they're allocating cash transfer 24 trillion. Okay. I think the amount becomes 600k per month, which is not much. It's jack shit, but we will get to that. It's for 20 million households. Under 50k 4 times over the course of what? I think that there's some missing information there. Oh, okay. So there is wage subsidy. But if it's wage, wouldn't that be tied to your employment status? How about those that are in the informal sector? Are they covered as well? We need to read on that as well then. Cash transfer. How to get cash transfer. Bantuan subsidi upah. We'll need to read on that as well then. Ketiga, bantuan 2%. Provide aid for public transport and the online drivers and fishermen. Well, not online drivers, just drivers in general. But in what way though? Like, it's quite vague. So they're keeping with the subsidy to be at 500 trillion. And then with the quota, there's only 6 million left from 23 million kiloliter till the end of 2022. Damn, that's... yeah, it's really running out. They expected it would run out by October. I think this is a pretty comprehensive article. That's nice. Okay, this one's a bit loud as well. The music, I mean. So, hang on. Sri Mulyani admitted that although the government has decided that the fuel prices should go up, but a subsidy is still enjoyed by those who own a car. I don't understand this line of thought. I mean, although I guess, yeah, I think Faris mentioned it in his article that if you own a car, you're likely to be within the top 30% at least. Although emphasis on the word own, because obviously you can quickly rebut this by saying, how about online drivers who use cars, go-car and whatnot? They don't own the car, but the amount of wage that they get is also determined by fuel prices. This is something that I want to go through, like, I guess next week, about, because there was this push for the government to set a higher base rate, base tariff for online drivers. I heard that it was delayed. I don't know if it is indefinitely or if there's a set date. We need to look into that as well. And of course, I think I saw a couple of articles mentioning that there's going to be some protesting from these online drivers, which, of course, fair game. It's not exactly surprising. Okay, so blah blah blah. Even though there's been a drop in global oil prices, the government still has to bear a gap with the price gap shortfall to subsidize pertalite and solar. I wonder why it's called solar. Solar is like the sun, right? I wonder if there's some philosophy that comes into it. And also it's interesting that of the other fuel types, solar is the one that they didn't really change at all. Because like for Pertamax, for instance, because pertalite is a new product, new type. For Pertamax, before that it was premix, and before premix it was I forgot what it was, but there was something before premix. Premix is roughly new, like 2005-ish or 2010-ish, if I'm not mistaken. And instead of Pertamax Plus, we used to have Premix Plus, I think. And then we used to have Super TT, which is, of course, then people make jokes about it because, like, haha, TT joke, you know? So even though, okay, even if the price goes down to $95 US dollars per barrel, then the amount of subsidy will still be 647 trillion. Okay. Guess that's it, huh? Alright. Interesting. What's next on the docket? We got... I think it was in Asumsi. Asumsi... Because like there was an article that's pretty old. Where is it? From Asumsi. I wonder if it's still here. Huh, damn it. Oh, I need to dig up from my thing. I hate this. I hate the fact that it didn't save the links. Where is it? It's this one. Okay, cool. Okay, I have my history open now. Need to go all the way back to Thursday then. Because I prepped it on Thursday. There we go. One moment. Got the Bansos stuff. Sri Mulyani. Okay, here it is. This is the article that I mentioned. Oop. Of course, we got this guy lurking around. And it shouldn't come as a surprise that if this guy says that there's going to be an increase, then there will be an increase. So we kind of do a little bit of a flashback here. I honestly forgot when they announced that they start introducing the My Pertamina policy. The 1st of August, right. Oh, so there's like a gradual change, I guess. According to Jokowi, it's no longer feasible to maintain the subsidy in its current condition. Currently, the price is very cheap compared to other countries, which we'll get to. I think there's something about Malaysia, bebe would be mura, something like that. We need to check on that as well later on. Preparation to lower the subsidy. Oh god, my eyes. What's wrong with them? We need to reduce ICE. Good. Then replace it with electric vehicles. And for mixed fuel, B40. Okay. Not sure I'm happy about, encouraging the use of palm oil without proper reform in the production process. Because, it's palm oil. It's notorious for being very destructive. Okay. Let's reduce the pressure. We need to be prepared. Okay, cool. Come on. We need to pray. Fuck off, dude. Increase taxes. Taxes on the wealthy. Come on. Don't be a coward. That's like the most obvious answer. If you're truly worried about our fiscal capacity, then have the spine to increase our taxes. Because or at the very least, if you want, you can start repealing the tax facilities that you provide for wealthy businesses or wealthy people in general. forgot the effective tax rate that we have right now. Like even for mining companies, the effective tax rate is already pretty high, and yet they are still making billions and billions. They're still racking billions in terms of profit. So there's still plenty of room to increase the taxes, honestly. Okay. Not a lot of information from that article. What's next? Increase despite dropping criticism. So, criticism, let's go back to the present time. Let's see. Oh. Was it not recorded? When did I do that then? Or is it in here actually? Hang on. Could be here. It's not? Okay, fine. Okay, here we go. Criticism. Let's see. See, like, okay, like for CNN, look at this. It's pretty clean. It's not overwhelming. We got one on the top. I'm talking about ads. One on the side. And one in the middle. That's it. There's like nothing cluttering on the left as well. It's a lot easier to read. It's not as overwhelming. What is this? Oh, go away. And you can close it. My God, that's such an improvement. So tons of protest. It's a form of negligence from the government on the plight of the people. Oh, fuck off. It will have increasing the fuel prices, the subsidized fuel, will have a direct impact on low-income households. That's why we have cash transfers. Shut up. It can affect middle-income households, small businesses. Fuck small businesses. Sorry. We are way too saturated, and the fact that their feasibility is supported by inefficient pricing like this, yeah. And on top of that, the fact that they also receive an allowance, I guess, in a way that they could pay their workers even lower than a minimum wage, so they're not bound to it. It's fucked. I hate that. I'm disgusted by it even. But there's no mention about the cash transfer here. Like, okay, we take away, because like if their main concern is really on low-income household, then their criticism should be on the cash transfer itself. That maybe make the argument that, oh, I mean, if they're actually genuine about their criticism, then they should focus on the amount, the benefit that is provided for within the amount of benefits provided in the cash transfer itself. Like, is small, then they should focus on that. Because like, this whole argument can easily be disputed by the incumbents, by be it Jokowi or Sri Mulyani, by saying, yeah, but then most of the subsidies will go to the wealthy. Why should we continue to support this system that is flawed? So it really goes to show that they're basically just protecting their own interests. Hey, what's this? Really? Interesting. Oh, it's Mamudu. Okay, I thought it was like a national movement. Okay, it will consolidate. It will monitor. Oh god. Bima, what are you doing? Yeah, I know that the people are not ready. The increase, but people will never be ready. They will always protest in this regard. Okay. If it is not coupled with more job opportunities. Okay, that's fair. But like, I feel like it's very surface level though. He could have gone through in depth about, oh, we should have increased the prices gradually since way back when. And it feels like, I mean, it's honestly like, just to circle back a bit with how, oh, the Democratic Party, this disgusting party is saying they're protesting against it, and because like in all likelihood they're one of the people who would stand against gradual increases in the first place. Sure, now it's convenient for them to protest against it. Blah blah. Okay. What's this? We'll read this later. I think for now, it's better if we just start watching the press conference. Right, I think that's the next thing that I want to read, yeah. I was expecting more criticism. It's not just about, oh, this fraction, this political party, they disagree, without really providing more substantive criticism, although I guess it's to be expected from our government. Let's just watch this press conference. It was held on the 26th of August, so like that's last week, right? Yeah. Okay. Kind of last week. Let's give it a watch. Pause the music. I haven't listened to Sri Mulyani like giving a speech for quite some time. Come to think of it, I don't think I have at all. I think I've only listened to her in that Deddy Corbuzier podcast, which is pretty good, I have to say. Like, within a short amount of time, she was able to provide insights. Oh, decent audio. Oh, so happy. Within a short amount of time, she was able to provide concise explanation on how does the government budget works in a way that's understandable for laymen. Yeah, and definitely no empty platitudes. Although I did expect that she would touch on taxation. If there's any criticism that I would say that I would give, is that she didn't really talk about or any initiatives on increasing taxes. But oh well, I guess that's too controversial. How's the audio level? Let's see. Oh yeah, it was her birthday. Okay.
Saya akan menyampaikan pada sore hari ini terkait
dengan
beberapa kali sudah melakukan ya beberapa penjelasan kepada teman-teman wartawan maupun kemarin di DPD mengenai kondisi dari APBN terkait dengan subsidi BBM.
There's a bit of a freeze here.
Bisa lebih menjelaskan dan ini juga sekaligus untuk memberikan juga transparansi mengenai desain dari kebijakan pemerintah terkait dengan subsidi BBM yang memang sudah menjadi perhatian masyarakat luas. Juga Bapak Presiden di berbagai kesempatan beliau menyampaikan bahwa saya sebagai Menteri Keuangan diminta untuk menghitung, ya, jadi kita juga terus sesuai dengan arahan Bapak Presiden menghitung dari sisi aspek APBN-nya ini yang terkait dengan subsidi BBM. Jadi untuk bisa memberikan penjelasan yang komplit mengenai bagaimana evolusi atau perubahan-perubahan yang terjadi, saya menggunakan kesempatan sore hari ini ya, dari sisi aspek APBN-nya. Pertama, teman-teman wartawan barangkali ingat APBN 2022 ini ya, dari sisi asumsi dasar yang disusun bersama-sama waktu itu menjadi undang-undang nomor berapa ya Pak ya? Undang-undang berapa Pak? APBN 2002, Undang-Undang 6 2021 ya mengenai APBN 2022 itu disusun dengan asumsi yang ada di dalam kolom pertama, yaitu pertumbuhan ekonomi 5,2, inflasi 3%, tingkat bunga 6,8, nilai tukar 14.350 per dolar Amerika, ICP-nya 63 dolar per barel, lifting 703 dan lifting gas 1036. Nah, dalam perjalanan waktu hingga pertengahan tahun, kita memang melihat dengan nanti kenaikan harga minyak, maka kemudian pada kesempatan kita menyampaikan ke DPR mengenai laporan semester 1 dari pelaksanaan.
There's a bit of a ringing sound. So annoying.
APBN 2022 terjadi perubahan yang terutama sangat besar pada harga ICP. Ya, oleh karena itu kami menyampaikan ke DPR, hilang, no signal. Tunggu ya, ini kayaknya masalah kabel sih. Jadi sambil menunggu, kami menyampaikan kepada DPR bahwa ada perubahan yang sangat besar terutama pada harga minyak ICP. Nah, tunggu yang halaman 1 dulu. Halaman 1 ya. Dari ICP ini kita
kayak presentasi Bapak sekolah ya, it's like in school. It's like the teacher, wait, oh it's gone, what
kita
happened?
menghitung rata-rata ICP untuk 1 tahun itu melonjak dari 63 ke 100. Ini juga.
Can I just say, very minor thing, but I love the theme of the presentation, with the colors and whatnot. It's definitely more professional. It's clean. Boomer in technology. Well, I mean, to be fair, the tech stuff, I don't think is the boomers, more like millennials, I guess. But then, since we're talking about people in government institutions, well, you know.
Juga yang menjadi indikator waktu Pertamina dan PLN sudah dalam kondisi keuangan yang sangat sulit ya pada bulan Mei.
Okay, so they adjusted the exchange rate to 14,450. Still a bit low. I would have went for at least 14,600 to be safe, I guess. And for ICP, yeah, 100 is a good price at this moment, at least.
Mei ke Juni, karena kalau kita menggunakan APBN yang awal, yaitu yang asumsi di kiri itu, maka alokasinya untuk subsidi tidak akan memadai. Sehingga kami menyampaikan di laporan sementara untuk melakukan perubahan terhadap asumsi ICP dari 63 ke 100. Dan juga waktu itu kita menyampaikan nilai tukar pun juga
hang on. I'm gonna increase the
atau disesuaikan dari 14.350 ke 14.450 ya.
There you go.
Itu adalah suasana bulan Juni. Akhir kita selesaikan semester 1 dan menyampaikan ke Dewan. Sesudah dibahas dengan DPR, Badan Anggaran, Komisi 11, maka basis yang baru itu kemudian disepakati termasuk kami menyampaikan ke DPR dengan ICP implikasinya 100 besaran subsidi berubah. Nah, ini yang kemudian menjadi landasan bagi kita untuk mengubah Undang-Undang nomor 6 2022 mengenai APBN awal, turunannya adalah Perpres, basis Perpresnya berubah menjadi Perpres 98.
Okay, then we can skip this a bit.
Perpres 98 yaitu sesudah laporan semester, kita menyampaikan bahwa pendapatan negara juga akan naik dari berbagai harga komoditas. Nah, Perpres 98 kemudian mengatur seluruh perubahan-perubahan itu. 1, pendapatan negara yang tadinya 1.846,1 triliun. Nah, ini berapa itu Pak dihitung? 1355 tadi sebetulnya sudah minta supaya dibuatkan kolom. Kalau total belanja KL-nya tetap sama 945. Jadi 357 triliun rupiah karena TKDD juga naik dari 769 ke 804,8.
Okay,
Turun malah naik. Jadi kita lihat yang harga 100 itu adalah line biru. Dari mulai Juli harga minyak naik ICP itu di 106,7. Brent bahkan lebih tinggi 108,9 dolar per barel. Kalau kita melihat outlook harga minyak sampai akhir tahun yang diterbitkan oleh International Energy Organization (EIA) itu diproyeksikan sepanjang tahun ini harga minyak di 100.
I think she's referring to is this a typo? Isn't it supposed to be International Energy Agency? Hang on. Yeah, it's supposed to be this. It's not EIA. Yeah, because EIA is for the US. Oh no, there's a typo. See? It's the United States.
104,8 dolar per barel. Berdasarkan forecast konsensus, harga minyak mungkin ada di 105. Jadi waktu kita membuat Perpres 98 yang sudah dibahas dengan DPR dengan harga minyak 100, jelas bahwa menurut forecast dari konsensus maupun dari Energy Organization, itu 100 itu lebih rendah dari kemungkinan realisasi. Hari ini pun kita juga lihat harga minyak juga masih di atas 100. Nah, konsekuensinya kita lihat harga-harga yang ada di masyarakat.
It's interesting that they didn't include like annual forecasts as well. Because they usually update this each month, right? These are monthly forecasts. And given the current trend and whatnot, they would include like a projection at least until the end of 2022, for instance. That's usually within the boundaries of it's not too uncertain, I guess. Although, well, we're talking about wartime, so I guess there's higher degree of uncertainty. Maybe that's why. Or at the very least, they could have included today's price, because this happened, because this press conference is at the end of August. Yeah, 26th of August. Oh well.
Untuk energi tidak berubah. Kita lihat solar, harga jual eceran ditetapkan harga yang ada di masyarakat. Kita lihat harga-harga yang ada di masyarakat untuk energi tidak berubah. Kita lihat solar, harga jual eceran ditetapkan oleh Pertamina, tentu dengan seizin pemerintah, itu hanya 5.150 per liter. Ini artinya harga solar jauh di bawah, yaitu hanya 37% dari harga realnya, keekonomiannya, yaitu kalau menggunakan harga dengan dolarnya 14.450 dan ICP 100, harusnya harga solar itu di 13.950 per liter.
That's crazy. Like only 30% of the market price. Like damn.
Oh dengan ICP 105 udah ya. Dengan kurs yang ternyata tadi ya dengan ICP ternyata 105 dan dengan kurs sekarang itu sudah di atas 14.450 tapi 14.700, maka harga
that's a bit inconsistent. Like I would have used the same assumption with so just to be clear, this is minute 1722, okay? Like initially they showed this. I would have stick with this. Instead of referring, even though like when you refer to the more recent data, it's not accurate. Like the ICP is higher now, it's 107, and the exchange rate is 14,700. But I mean, for the purpose of consistency, I would have stuck with the same assumption.
700.
Although I can understand that people would make a rebuttal that, oh, but then it's not reflective of the current condition. It's not realistic. It's not based on realistic assumptions. But when it comes to creating assumptions for budgetary purposes, you would try to balance the potential fluctuation. You try to find like the middle ground, like between the potential highest price and the potential lowest price, something like that. The average, I guess that's what it would be called, right? The average.
Maka harga dari solar harusnya di 13.950 per liter, rupiah per liter. Jadi harga yang dijual kepada masyarakat itu hanya 37%-nya. Artinya masyarakat dan seluruh perekonomian mendapatkan subsidi 63% dari harga keekonomian atau harga realnya. Itu 8.
And don't forget, this applies to everyone. Everyone benefits from this, including the wealthy.
8.800 per liternya.
Because again, let's not forget, when we talk about, those, the stereotypical small PP energy cars like Fortuner and Pajero, they usually would go for the diesel engine. And these diesel cars they could use solar. So there you go. They're only paying 30% of the market price, even though following the stereotype, they tend to be the wealthiest. They tend to come from wealthy layers of society.
Itu satu untuk solar. Untuk pertalite juga sama. Harga di masyarakat itu 7.650 per liter. Kalau sekarang ICP-nya di 105 dan kursnya di 14.
Small PP car. I will use that as future reference. Hi, Alia. The fun fact, like I actually have a neighbor who has a Fortuner, and their number plate, I kid you not, is B119CAR, which reads big car. Take that as you will. Small PP energy, if I've ever seen one, if I could say so.
700, maka harga pertalite harusnya di 14.450 per liter. Artinya harga pertalite sekarang ini adalah 53% rakyat yang mengkonsumsi dan menggunakan pertalite setiap liternya mendapatkan subsidi 6.800.
Again, that's crazy. You're paying more than half the price. Less than half the price. Wait, is it? The gap is 47%. You're paying half the price. Let's go with that. That's easier to say. That's crazy. And this is pertalite. This is even more ubiquitous than solar. Like, jeez.
Setiap liter yang
like at least for solar, you can make the argument that a lot of trucks, for instance, they use that. Or for shuttle cars, do they use diesel? I think they use diesel. Shuttle cars that, like intercity shuttle, they use solar. But pertalite, that's like even more ubiquitous, and a lot of people would use pertalite because it has higher octane. So like even for quote unquote fancy cars, they can still use pertalite without it necessarily compromising their engine performance. Because it's cheaper, so of course they would prefer that.
Dibeli. Di solar tadi setiap liter yang dibeli 8.800 subsidi yang diberikan oleh negara. Pertamax yang sekarang harganya di 12.500, seharusnya harga berdasarkan ICP 105 kurs 14.700 itu harusnya di 17.300 per liter. Jadi bahkan Pertamax sekalipun yang dikonsumsi oleh mobil-mobil yang biasanya bagus, berarti yang pemiliknya juga mampu, itu setiap liternya mereka mendapatkan subsidi 4.800.
Now this one is even crazier. I think, because like generally people would think that Pertamax is not subsidized, right? But I think that is why, like over here, it says that it is the cost is borne by the the company, the business, in this case, Pertamina. I imagine that the quote unquote subsidy would fall under compensation, which is outside subsidy. It is for those who don't know, is the shortfall between the market price and the actual price. I guess it's not market price. The actual price and the market price. The price that is being sold in the market to the people. And because this is being sold by state-owned enterprises, Pertamina, the government is obliged to close that shortfall to compensate for it. And that's where, this number comes. This also applies for, LPG, which we'll get to in a moment. No, not for LPG. I think the 12 kilogram LPG, because otherwise it would probably be included here. But for electricity, some of the consumer groups who are technically not part of the subsidized consumer groups, they also receive compensation. One of which is actually the 1300 VA consumer groups. They're not supposed to be subsidized. The supposed subsidized consumer groups for households specifically are only for 450 VA and also 900 VA. Even for 900 VA, there's already a distinction between what would you call mampu and tidak mampu? Those who could afford and those could not afford. They make that distinction, which is interesting. I would love to know the benchmark on how they determine whether or not they could afford or not. But yeah.
LPG yang sekarang harga jual per kilonya adalah 4.250. Kalau mengikuti dengan harga ICP atau gas yang sekarang dan kurs harusnya harganya 18.500. Ini artinya setiap kilo LPG konsumen mendapatkan subsidi 14.250. Jadi kalau setiap kali beli LPG 3 kilo, kita bayangkan maka mereka mendapatkan 42.000 lebih. Coba.
This is crazy. I simply could not put my head around this reality that this is the amount of subsidy that people are benefiting from. Granted, if it's only for a low-income household, that's fine. That's fantastic. That's great. But in this case, anyone can do it. Anyone can benefit from it. Wow. To think that people still make the arguments that the government doesn't do anything. You're benefiting from this every single day. Jeez.
Dihitung 3 kalinya Pak Febrio. 42.750 ya bener gampang. 42.750. Setiap beli 3 kilo LPG itu subsidinya adalah 42.750. Nah ini adalah kondisi yang memang waktu APBN memiliki kemampuan untuk mensubsidi mungkin dalam hal ini tidak ada masalah. Dan kebetulan APBN mendapatkan tadi.
It's a problem. No. Although, of course, politically, you shouldn't say that. But yeah, this is a problem. Again, it's atrocious. It's a travesty. God, so embarrassing.
Windfall profit yaitu 420. Coba kita lihat sekarang situasi dari subsidi APBN terhadap energi ini. Ya, ini yang terutama di kotak merah. Tapi saya memberikan juga informasi selama 4 tahun sebelum 2022, jadi 5 tahun dengan tahun ini. Tahun 2018, subsidi dan kompensasi untuk BBM, LPG, dan listrik itu hanya 153 triliun. 2019, 144 triliun, angka yang di bawah. Jadi nggak usah dibedakan subsidi kompensasi, kira-kira membingungkan, langsung aja di bawah.
No. We need to scrutinize that number. Because if you look at it, it's crazy that for fuel specifically, the amount of compensation is higher than the subsidy itself. That's a red flag if I've ever seen one. Or let's start with electricity here. It's 59 Like even under the current the new refined regulation, we see here that they're allocating 60 trillion worth of subsidy and 41 worth of compensation. It means that consumer groups outside of the subsidized group are benefiting 41 trillion worth of compensation, worth of subsidy. Like, because by the end of the day, it's subsidy. You're benefiting from below market rate. That's dumb. That should be eradicated. Because no. Unless you want to make the argument that, hey, the subsidy coverage should be expanded, sure, go ahead. But like, to my understanding, there should not be any compensation. It's dumb. And for fuel, I don't understand why it's more. Like, why is it even higher? Does it go to LPG? It wouldn't make sense, right? Because like or is it for Pertalite? Maybe it's for Pertalite. Yeah. Because like technically Pertalite is no longer a subsidized fuel. We don't have premium anymore, which is the substitute for the cheaper version of Pertalite. Like I maybe we need to check. Oh, okay, it's included as the subsidized fuel. So why is it so high though? I don't understand. Because like for Pertamax, if we go back here, it's 30%. And I imagine that the bulk of the consumption does not go to Pertamax, but to Pertalite and Solar. So that's interesting. Oh, it does say compensation though. Oh, then yeah, I definitely go to Pertalite then. That's interesting because I thought Pertalite is already counts as subsidized fuel. There's conflicting information here, but yeah, if like within the financial report, it counts as compensation, then yeah, absolutely, it makes sense why the compensation is double the amount of subsidy,
Harga minyak
which it's a bad thing. Let's be clear, it's a bad thing.
jatuh ya, pernah ada suatu jatuh sangat rendah. Itu pun subsidinya sudah mendekati 200 triliun sebelum 2022, jadi 5 tahun dengan tahun ini. Tahun 2018, subsidi dan kompensasi untuk BBM, LPG, dan listrik itu hanya 153 triliun.
Okay.
2019, 144 triliun, angka yang di bawah. Jadi nggak usah dibedakan subsidi kompensasi, kira-kira membingungkan, langsung aja di bawah. 2020 bahkan di tengah pandemi, subsidi dan kompensasi 199. Waktu itu kita pernah ingat harga minyak jatuh ya, pernah ada suatu jatuh sangat rendah. Itu pun subsidinya sudah mendekati 200 triliun. Tahun 2021, begitu harga mulai naik karena pemulihan ekonomi di negara-negara maju terjadi pada kira-kira semester 2, harga minyak juga udah mulai naik ke atas dan komoditas lain juga naik. Namun yang kita bayarkan di tahun 2021 itu hanya 188 triliun. 188 triliun. Dengan konsekuensi sebetulnya tahun 2021 itu ada tagihan yang belum kita bayar. Ya. Nah, APBN 2022 awalnya kita hanya mengalokasikan subsidi kompensasi untuk BBM, LPG dan listrik hanya 152,5 triliun. Dengan kenaikan minyak harga ICP yang melonjak tadi di atas 100 dan kita merevisi menjadi 100 dalam asumsinya dan bahkan kursnya sudah kita koreksi dari 14.350 ke 14.450 tapi ternyata terjadinya sekarang di 14.700. APBN Perpres kita menaikkan dari subsidi yang hanya tadinya 152,5 triliun 3 kali lipat lebih dari 3 kali lipat. Karena kalau 3 kali lipat ya cuma 450, ini 502,4 triliun. Ini kalau kita lihat yang melonjak tinggi selain subsidi dari 134 ke 208 terdiri dari listrik dan BBM, terutama yang BBM itu naik dari 77 ke 149, jadi ada kenaikan 71 triliun untuk subsidinya, kompensasinya melonjaknya sangat luar biasa. 18,5 triliun menjadi 252 untuk BBM saja. Listrik juga kalau teman-teman media lihat kita menambah 41 triliun. Ini untuk menahan supaya harga shock yang berasal dari luar. Karena adanya disruption, ada perang, harga minyak sekarang menjadi luar biasa tinggi.
Okay, that's interesting. So initially they didn't allocate compensation for electricity? Hang on, back up. Let's back up a bit.
Kompensasinya melonjaknya sangat luar biasa. 18,5 triliun menjadi 252 untuk BBM saja. Listrik juga kalau teman-teman media lihat kita menambah 41 triliun. Ini untuk menahan supaya harga shock yang berasal dari luar. Karena adanya disruption, ada perang, harga minyak sekarang menjadi luar biasa tinggi. Kalau itu tidak diabsorb, shocknya langsung menghantam ekonomi dan masyarakat, mungkin ekonomi kita akan situasinya menjadi sangat berat.
Okay, okay, I don't understand because like I thought, I do wonder because like let's say like in the case of 2021, I suppose, like we allocated this amount for subsidy. Because okay, like officially speaking, like I mentioned, only two consumer groups for electricity are covered by subsidy. The 450 VA and 900 VA. Let's see. Let's try that. Okay. Businesses also receive subsidy. Uh-huh. Okay. All right, so they count as consumer groups that are eligible for subsidy. Okay. I stand corrected. But I do wonder about the 1300 VA because that should count as, subsidized group.
Maka APBN mengambil shock itu, meredamnya dengan menambah 502,4 untuk subsidi dan kompensasi BBM LPG listrik. Naik 349,9 triliun. Nah, 502,4 triliun ini kita menghitungnya berdasarkan waktu itu Menteri ESDM dan dalam APBN adalah untuk solar. Jumlah volumenya adalah 15,1 juta kiloliter. 15,1 juta kiloliter untuk solar. Dikalikan tadi ya ICP-nya dan kemudian kursnya. Untuk Pertalite, kita juga menggunakan yang ada di dalam APBN waktu itu volumenya diindikasikan 23,05 juta kiloliter. Itu artinya setiap bulan 2,5 itu ya. Nah yang terjadi sekarang dengan pemulihan ekonomi, konsumsi dan harga yang masih relatif sangat tadi subsidinya sangat tinggi untuk solar yang bahkan lebih dari 50%, 65% tadi ya subsidinya dan untuk 63% dan untuk Pertalite itu subsidinya 47%. Konsumsi untuk solar dan Pertalite diperkirakan jauh melampaui apa yang ada di dalam APBN. Menurut Menteri ESDM dan BPH Hilir akan mencapai 17,44 juta kiloliter untuk solar. Ini artinya 115% dari kuota yang sudah dianggarkan di dalam APBN dengan kenaikan sampai 502 triliun tadi. Sedangkan Pertalite lebih besar lagi, proyeksi sampai akhir tahun dengan pola konsumsi selama 8 bulan ini akan mencapai 29,07 juta kiloliter. Ini artinya Pertalite akan jumlahnya mencapai 126% dari kuota. Ya. Kalau kita asumsikan volume dari konsumsinya mengikuti selama 8 bulan terakhir, yaitu kalau solar itu sekitar 1,5 juta.
This is did she? Oh, fuck. Sorry, I wasn't really paying attention just now. I was trying to line up the articles that we want to read. We're gonna read after this. Let me copy that. Did she mention about why the consumption? The amount allocated, like it exceeds the projection. Did she mention that?
1,5 juta per 115. Jadi untuk solar dan Pertalite diperkirakan jauh melampaui apa yang ada di dalam APBN. Menurut Menteri ESDM dan BPH Hilir akan mencapai 17,44 juta kiloliter untuk solar. Ini artinya 100 dengan pola konsumsi selama tadi. Sedangkan Pertalite lebih besar lagi, proyeksi sampai akhir tahun dengan pola konsumsi selama 8 bulan ini akan mencapai 29,07 juta kiloliter. Ini artinya Pertalite akan jumlahnya mencapai volume dari konsumsinya mengikuti selama 8 bulan terakhir, yaitu kalau solar itu sekitar 1,5 juta per bulannya.
Okay, so she didn't really provide an explanation. Okay, cool.
Demikian juga dengan Pertalite 23,05 juta kiloliter akan habis kuotanya pada bulan Oktober. Kalau konsumsinya tetap sama di 2,4 atau 2,5 per bulannya. Ini yang menjadi persoalan, berarti seluruh tadi 502 triliun tadi akan habis di bulan Oktober. 52,4 triliun yang sudah ditambahkan. Kami menghitung, kan disuruh Bapak Presiden untuk melihat gimana kemampuan APBN selama ini, beliau selalu menanyakan. Apabila tren ini dibiarkan terus dengan harga tadi forecast berdasarkan konsensus harga minyak, kurs kita yang rata-rata sekarang di 14.700 dan volumenya terus melampaui kuota sampai dengan Pertalite 29,07 kilo dan solar sampai di 17,44 juta, maka kita masih akan perlu lagi menambah anggaran subsidi kompensasi dari 502,4 perlu ditambah lagi dengan 195,6 triliun. Artinya jumlah subsidi kita itu akan mencapai 698 triliun dengan volume, kurs dan harga minyak yang sekarang terjadi dan trennya sampai akhir tahun.
I do wonder what made them underestimate the consumption growth. Like what triggered that exactly? Was there any significant changes to this year? Did they make a projection that was more conservative in terms of the development of COVID and whatnot? But I thought that when we entered 2022, the pandemic has already subsided for the most part, right? As far as I know. I could be wrong, but yeah, it is unfortunate that they underestimated the amounts, because like I would imagine that to be safe, if you're trying to create a quota, you would make it more, you would lean more towards the aggressive side of things.
Nah, 698 triliun ini siapa yang menikmati? Coba kita lihat. Kalau untuk solar yang tadi konsumsinya itu adalah sebagian rumah tangga, sebagian adalah dunia usaha. Solar itu 89% dari 15 juta atau 17 juta kiloliter itu, 89% dinikmati oleh dunia usaha, 11% dinikmati oleh rumah tangga. Dari yang rumah tangga ini yang menggunakan solar, 95% adalah rumah tangga yang mampu, yang mengkonsumsi solar yang subsidinya luar biasa besar tadi.
The small PP cars. Because let's think about it. If we're talking about households, because they've excluded, because like 89% of it's used by businesses. Sure, valid. Okay, like the shuttle and the trucks and whatnot, logistics. Okay, they're excluded from this, right? So focusing specifically on households. Think about it for a second. What type of cars would use diesel? The small PP cars. That's one. If you go a bit lower, then we're talking about like the Panthers, the Isuzu Panthers. What else? Okay. Mobile diesel murah. Let's go. See, you get these cars, the Isuzu, and even then they're not exactly cheap per se. I mean, they're pretty big cars, so they would at least cost like at least 200 million. That's even like being very optimistic. They should probably go beyond 300. And of course, we got maybe the cheaper one would be Innova. That will be the cheapest version. That's more mainstream. But even then, like, I doubt that they would go at the bottom 40%. That's highly unlikely. So yeah, it makes sense. This staggering number, that 95% of the solar subsidy benefits, the top 60%. There's like a huge loophole.
Per liternya 8.800 subsidinya. Yang menikmati adalah rumah tangga mampu, yaitu 1,69 dari 11% total volume yang dikonsumsi rumah tangga.
Now, like, I wish that instead of saying rumah tangga mampu atau tidak mampu, she would stick to what's on the chart is the top 60%. Like, I understand it's not exactly as easy to understand if you say, like, compared to saying households that could afford, or the wealthy households, compared to top 60%. Because then, like, when you say top 60%, it takes into account the entire population, right? Whereas saying the wealthy, then it begs the question, what kind of standard that you're using, which feeds into that thread from a particular progressive figure who then criticized this decision, this statement, by saying, oh, this is very deceptive because when they say rumah tangga mampu, that also considers households that have, have a daily income of 50,000 or something, which is absurd, right? But that's not the standard that's being used. It's just for the purpose of making it easier to understand. Sri Mulyani is only saying households that kind of that are wealthy, that could afford, hypothetically could afford the market rate. I think it could have been better if she's introduced it by saying the top 60% who supposed to be able to afford the market rate, who should be wealthy enough to afford it. But oh well.
Hanya 0,1 juta yang betul-betul dinikmati oleh mereka yang memang memiliki tingkat ekonomi yang tidak mampu, yaitu 40% terbawah dari rumah tangga di Indonesia.
I stand corrected. She actually elaborated that, saying that it's the bottom 40%. So it's I guess it becomes an issue from the media then, that they didn't state that. At least from the articles that I've read, they didn't mention the bottom 40% or top 60%.
Yang berpendapatan paling bawah, 40% terbawah. Kalau kita lihat dalam rupiahnya juga sama, 95% dari subsidi solar, ya tadi saya sampaikan ya, subsidi solar itu dinikmati oleh rumah tangga yang mampu. Subsidi solar itu mencapai berapa Pak Isa? 149 triliun untuk solar sendiri.
Okay, I think this is quite interesting. Like, what led to this staggering growth in 2022, especially for the top earners here, the top 10%? Like, that's insane growth right there. Huh.
Jadi dari 149 triliun itu hanya 5% yang dinikmati oleh rumah tangga yang tidak mampu. Selebihnya adalah dunia usaha dan rumah tangga yang mampu. Nah, kalau solar barangkali tadi lebih banyak dunia usaha. Pertalite situasinya juga sama. Dari berapa subsidi Pertalite Pak Isa totalnya rupiahnya?
93,5 Bu.
93,5 triliun. Ini 80 persennya dinikmati oleh rumah tangga yang relatif mampu atau bahkan sangat kaya. 60 persennya. Jadi hampir 60 triliun sendiri dari 90 tadi. Sedangkan
Which is not surprising, because like when you consider one, the wealthier you are, the more likely that you own a car, and as you go up in the income bracket, the more likely that you own multiple cars even. So, and the more likely that you are dependent on the car, and the more likely that you could afford more consumption of the fuel itself, hence increasing the consumption, hence also increasing the amount of subsidy that you benefit. But yeah, this number is crazy. Like in here, it kind of plateau a bit between the group 5 to 8, sorry, the 5th to 8th decile, and it just skyrocketed. Like,
kan masyarakat miskin yang menggunakan untuk motor dan yang lain-lain yang mengkonsumsi Pertalite, dia hanya mengkonsumsi 20%-nya. Gitu ya. Ini artinya dengan ratusan triliun subsidi yang kita berikan, yang menikmati adalah kelompok yang justru paling mampu karena mereka yang mengkonsumsi BBM itu, entah Pertalite, solar, atau bahkan juga tadi Pertamax yang memang masih ada. Belum kalau kita bicara tentang LPG 3 kilo juga. Saya nggak bicara tentang LPG, kita bicara tentang BBM. Tapi kita juga punya datanya yang untuk LPG. Coba kita lihat next page-nya.
Okay, all right. Like, you can start to sense her resentment from her tone, which I can understand because this is not new information, mind you. I've already seen this version, this data from the 2016 version. Because like if you see down here, it's from our census data in 2021. And we have it, like the Ministry of Finance has done this study in 2016. They know this is happening. They know that this is an ineffective subsidy. I mean, it's public knowledge, sure, but they also have the data. They could substantiate it with data. And they've been planning all along in trying to change the scheme. And I'm assuming that the people that are roadblocking in improving the accuracy of the subsidy is probably the House of Representatives. Because who else? They're the ones who signed the bill. They're the ones who push. They're the ones who decide which proposition is to be considered to be put into law. So yeah, it's fucked, honestly. And again, that explains the resentment in her tone. And because like when I first saw the data, I was like, holy shit, I was not expecting that it was going to be this bad. And I feel you, Busri, like, goddamn.
LPG 3 kilo, walaupun tidak sedramatis seperti solar dan Pertalite, kita lihat di sini, 60% juga masih yang menikmati adalah kelompok yang relatif mampu.
Now, this is interesting, specific to LPG, for our gas canister. Like, I guess why the number is not as staggering as fuel is because most wealthier households, they don't use the 3 kilogram canisters. They would use the 12 kilogram canister. But nevertheless, I'm still surprised, nonetheless, that there are still wealthy households that would use the 3 kilogram canister. Like, it's very inconvenient in my mind. Unless perhaps if you have a very small house. But even so, like the fact that you have to regularly change the canister again and again and again, it's such a nuisance. Unless they use it for water heaters, because it's more accessible that way. You don't need a lot of space to store the gas canister. Maybe? I don't know. Like, it's still strange that it baffles me when I saw this data that there are still wealthy households that would use the 3 kilogram gas canisters, LPG canisters.
Hanya 40% yang menikmati, gitu ya. Jadi kalau solar itu tadi ekstrim, hanya 5% kelompok yang tidak mampu yang menikmati 95. Kalau pertalite 80% yang mampu yang menikmati, hanya 20% yang tidak mampu. Kalau ini relatif, tapi tetap salah sasarannya lebih banyak, yaitu 60% konsumsinya itu dinikmati oleh 68% dinikmati oleh yang mampu. Sedangkan yang 40% terbawah hanya menikmati 32% dari LPG subsidi. Pertamax yang tadi harganya juga belum mencapai keekonomian, itu jelas kalau kita lihat di sini. 86% dikonsumsi oleh rumah tangga yang relatif mampu.
Now, this is also confusing to me. I think I've mentioned it just now. Sorry if I'm repeating myself. Like, why isn't Pertamax just leave it to the market, allow it to fluctuate day to day? I mean, that's pretty much how I'm assuming other countries do it, that they just leave it to the market. I wonder if they did that, they kind of, what's the term? Hedge the fluctuation to ensure that the wealthy households would still use Pertamax, so that the quota for the subsidized fuels, such as Pertalite, does not run out as fast. But again, like, I don't know. If you look at the consumption numbers, let's see, this is like 4.5 million kiloliters. This is 35, okay, minute 35. And this is 15. It is not even a total, sorry, but like this is 16 million. So that's like 200%, almost 300, or if not more than 300% differences. It's 3 times higher. Sorry if I'm wrong with the math. I suck at it, but yeah.
14% yang dinikmati oleh rumah tangga tidak mampu. Dari sisi anggaran, uangnya ratusan triliun. Apalagi kalau 502 naik menjadi 698. Ratusan triliun itu yang banyak menikmati adalah kelompok menengah atas. Yang paling miskin justru mendapatkan sangat kecil. Nah, saya ingin memberikan ilustrasi sahabat teman-teman media. Kalau kita punya uang 502 triliun itu kira-kira bisa dapat apa saja kalau di dalam APBN kita. 502 triliun itu bisa membangun rumah sakit sebanyak 3.333. Kalau Menteri Kesehatan sekarang minta anggaran supaya kita bisa membangun rumah sakit sampai ke seluruh pelosok. Ini rumah sakit kelas menengah ya. Kita bisa membangun 3.333. Atau sekolah dasar, kalau kita banyak, masih ada beberapa sekolah dasar yang tidak ada, atau itu akan ada 7.887 sekolah dasar yang kita bisa bangun dengan dana 502 triliun tadi. Atau kalau kita bikin ruas tol, itu ada.
I would appreciate it if instead of saying ruas tol baru, like more highways, more motorways, she would say more public transport projects. Although I guess that's more, there's more variables that go into it. Like it's easier. There's less deviation if you're talking about new highways. But oh well. Like maybe, maybe you can balance it with, oh, this is equivalent to 1,000 MRT projects if you use the same value as the one in Jakarta. Something like that. I don't know.
Ada 3.500 kilometer. Mungkin kita bisa nyelesain semua tol di Sumatera sih menurut saya. Bahkan lewat. Gitu ya. Ya karena yang kemarin kan masih ada yang belum tersambung. Atau kalau kita concern mengenai kesehatan, ini 41.666 puskesmas yang kita bisa bangun di seluruh pelosok tanah air. Terutama di daerah yang tertinggal, terluar, yang mereka jelas tidak menikmati subsidi yang 502 triliun tadi. Jadi ini hanya untuk memberikan sense of magnitude bahwa angka ini adalah angka yang sangat besar dan sangat real. Dan ini masih belum cukup. 502 ini belum cukup. Masih
How do they automatically think about toll roads instead of something else is what I'm wondering. Yeah, I mean, because I guess it's broken down into the major groups of budget allocation, right? We got health, because like if you look at the APBN, at least the infographics, they would have a specific section for health, education, and infrastructure. So I guess that's why they place toll roads. And because we're talking about fuel, I guess it's like there's more parallel that goes into it. But again, like I would have appreciated if it mentions public transport instead, because it kind of promotes the narrative that we should cut down our consumption, at least implicitly. But, oh well, I mean, again, it's probably just because it's more palatable, it's easier to get the average value, so, yeah. Oh well.
akan berpotensi menambah 195,6 triliun lagi dengan tren harga minyak dan dan jumlah volume konsumsi yang dilakukan oleh masyarakat. Nah, inilah yang saya ingin sampaikan kepada media, hitung-hitungan yang juga disampaikan kepada Bapak Presiden. Karena kalau tadi 195 kembali lagi ke halaman 8, tidak kita sediakan di tahun ini, maka dia akan ditagih di 2023 APBN kita. Jadi tidak berarti nggak ada gitu. Tagihannya datangnya tahun depan. Pas kita sedang menjaga APBN kita, tadi defisitnya dikurangin untuk 3% supaya APBN-nya sehat lagi. 195,6 triliun itu memakan lebih dari separuh dari anggaran subsidi kompensasi tahun depan. Di dalam Undang-Undang APBN yang akan kita bahas dengan DPR, kita menganggarkan 336,3 triliun rupiah. Jadi kalau ada tagihan dari 2022 nanti, ya berarti udah lebih dari separuh udah kepakai untuk membayar 2022. Kita bisa bayangkan 2023, pasti anggaran subsidi kompensasi menjadi tidak mencukupi. Nah, nanti akan menimbulkan persoalan yang sama lagi. Artinya ini akan muncul terus snowballing efeknya ke belakang.
Which again, they knew already about this problem since way back when. But because increasing, fuel prices is very controversial, it's very unpopular, it's political suicide, shit like that. Yeah, that's why they kept postponing it. Even though, Jokowi's administration is not exactly is known to increase fuel prices since the first term, if I'm not mistaken. And I don't really see why he didn't, or at least the administration didn't maintain the momentum, keep up with the momentum. It's from a policy standpoint, it's very disappointing to see. Because as Sri Mulyani mentioned, this huge amount of money could have been allocated for way more productive purposes. And yet, we keep having to waste all of this money for people who technically could afford a higher price anyway. It's saddening in a lot of ways.
Inilah situasi dari APBN kita. Jadi di satu sisi kalau tadi ditanyakan, dengan penerimaan negara yang nambah 420 triliun pun, yang kita pakai semua untuk subsidi, tadi ya, untuk energi, pertalite, solar, dan kemudian LPG 3 kilo, dan listrik, itu nggak akan mencukupi. Seluruh windfall profit yang dipakai semuanya. Tidak akan mencukupi karena akan habis. Jadi kalau teman-teman wartawan nanti tiap bulan bicara, saya menjelaskan APBN kita masih surplus karena tagihannya ini nanti baru akan ditagihkan ke kami pada bulan Oktober. September ya Pak ya, September atau Oktober. Setiap 3 bulan. Tagihannya yang 502 itu baru akan datang pada saat sudah diaudit BPKP nanti sekitar bulan September. Makanya nanti APBN kita akan mulai adjusted dari surplus-surplus yang kelihatannya kita punya surplus sekitar berapa tuh Silpa dengan 300 tadi, akan langsung habis aja untuk membayar itu. Itu yang saya ingin sampaikan kepada teman-teman, hitungan-hitungan yang Bapak Presiden selama ini meminta kami, Kementerian Keuangan, untuk membuat hitungan di APBN-nya. Dan kalau dilihat dari sini, dari hitungan kita bulan Juli, pada saat kita menyampaikan ke DPR, sampai sekarang pun hanya dalam waktu 1 bulan, perubahan terus berjalan. Maka kami akan terus mengelola APBN secara hati-hati, namun juga pesannya adalah pertama, subsidi yang ratusan triliun ini jelas sasarannya dan yang menikmati adalah kelompok yang relatif mampu. Dan ini berarti kita mungkin akan menciptakan kesenjangan yang makin lebar dengan subsidi ini. Karena yang mampu menikmati dana subsidi ratusan triliun, yang tidak mampu tidak menikmati. Nah, untuk itu memang akan diperlukan berbagai langkah-langkah untuk satu, tetap menjaga APBN kita sebagai shock.
I guess I would have used a different language instead of it's not being like the low income household does not benefit from it, because like it feels like it from the way it was phrased, it comes off as if we want to encourage more consumption in low-income household. This is very nitpicky, don't worry. But like the overall narrative is still correct that most of this subsidy benefits the wealthy. That's still in line with the narrative. But I wish that, I guess we'll see. I could be wrong. I didn't pre-watch this. Hopefully she would mention that these hundreds and hundreds of trillion worth of budget can be allocated to more productive means to lift up low-income households so that there's more equality, to balance, to improve our income inequality. We can spend it on more productive programs. Hopefully we'll hear that. I guess we'll see.
Absorber artinya subsidi itu nggak akan dicabut. Tapi penyesuaian mungkin perlu untuk dipertimbangkan di dalam kerangka untuk tadi memperbaiki dari manfaat distribusi bagi masyarakat. Yang kedua, APBN kita juga tetap harus dijaga supaya kita tetap bisa ngadepin 2023, 2024 yang nanti ketidakpastian juga masih akan tinggi. Yang ketiga, ya semuanya gotong royong, kelompok masyarakat yang relatif mampu mungkin harus mengkontribusikan lebih baik atau lebih banyak dibandingkan masyarakat yang tidak mampu, yang harus kita bantu dengan berbagai instrumen. Dari mulai bansos sampai dengan subsidi tapi yang tepat sasaran.
Higher taxes? Are we hinting at higher taxes? That's interesting.
Mungkin itu teman-teman wartawan yang saya hormati. Terima kasih sekali lagi atas waktunya. Saya rasa kita tidak usah membuka pertanyaan lagi ya. Nanti saya menyampaikan ini kepada Bapak Presiden, bahan-bahan yang sama dengan yang Anda sekarang terima. Ini sebagai sebuah bentuk akuntabilitas kita mengenai kondisi APBN, dan yang Bapak Presiden selama ini selalu meminta kepada kita, menginstruksikan tolong dijaga dan dihitung secara cermat. Demikian yang bisa saya sampaikan. Terima kasih sekali lagi kepada teman-teman wartawan yang sudah hadir pada sore hari ini. Dan tentu setiap langkah-langkah yang menyangkut tadi subsidi, kemudian bansos, APBN, kami akan selalu update sesuai dengan keputusan-keputusan yang ada. Nanti untuk ALKO APBN bulan Agustus kita juga akan sampaikan pada sekitar pertengahan September untuk bisa memberikan update situasi dari kondisi APBN kita. Demikian, terima kasih. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam. That's a pretty good press conference. All right. We learned quite a lot from there, I guess. We get the controversial statement again about the fact that most of the subsidy benefits the wealthy. We get concrete numbers. I think this is the first time that we get to see these figures, as much as it's kind of well known, like people is already accepted within the public consciousness, but to have our government explicitly stating it, I think it's relatively new. I will admit that it is quite unfortunate that they have to kind of justify the price hike given sorry, let me rephrase. It is unfortunate that they did this to justify the price hike instead of pointing out that there's something wrong with the policy, that it needs to be fixed, that there's political motivation behind it, which is essentially to cover their asses. But well, I mean, whatever it may be, it's still a good thing that now this information is, like people know this information now. People have this information now. That's a good thing. But yeah, I guess it's beyond the capacity of Bu Sri Mulyani to say that this is supposed to be something that we should have done since before. Because again, like I mentioned, they already have this information since 2016. They knew already, but they weren't able to do anything about it due to a variety of political obstructions. And yeah, like, fuck. It's interesting that it didn't include the potential, like during the conclusion, she didn't mention that they need to increase the prices, because I guess it's not within her jurisdiction. Although I imagine she must have partaken in the process of determining the price increase, whether or not it's within our fiscal capacity, if the prices are increased to 10,000 for Pertalite, for instance. So yeah, that's interesting. Anywho, it's been almost 2 hours. I think I want to take a break. I need to refill my water. After this, we're gonna read some more articles specifically about the cash transfers, and I've already collected the articles that I've collated. I've already compiled, like before this, from my internet history. We're gonna read some articles related to subsidy first, and then the cash transfers, and maybe that's it, I guess. We'll see how long it would take. Still have 2 hours to stream for today. I'll be right back, okay? Okay, I'm back. Let's move that a bit. Right. Hang on, let me move the thing. Let me play the music again. Cool. Oh, the stop audio is still off. There you go. Should hear the music now. Let me move the mic again. Okay, there you go. Coolio. Okay, so we're done with the press conference. Okay, the music is a bit loud again. Boop. Okay. Which article should we read first? Should we go through the thread? Okay, maybe we can do that. Hang on. Is everything on? Yeah, everything is on. Or maybe no. Let's start with some news articles. Let's see. So this is an example of the article that I mentioned, that there were indications that Pertamax, the non-subsidized fuel, the price would be lowered, which doesn't make sense. Again, like as you can see from the presentation just now from Sri Mulyani, they're also subsidized, although they're not subsidized from subsidies, but from compensation, which is again is a very annoying, I don't know, unnecessary complication. Like just call it subsidy. Like, oh well. Okay, never mind. I stand corrected. It's not Pertamax, but it's the other ones. So it's Pertamax Turbo, Dexlite, and Pertamina Dex. Okay. On average, they're lowered by 2,000, which is quite high. I'll admit. I guess it's kind of to incentivize like wealthier households to use these fuel. I mean, I guess it would be good considering that if now the policy trends towards limiting consumption based on category. I think it was made official recently about that only cars that are produced beyond a certain year and with a certain engine capacity are eligible to use Pertalite, the subsidized fuels. It's a good moment that currently the global prices are decreasing, so there's less complaints, I guess, from these minorities who technically wouldn't have complained either way. La la la. That's quite a huge drop, I have to say, from 18 to 16k. Okay, so it's broken down by provinces as well. That's interesting. I thought we've already implemented the... Hang on. What happened to this program? So it's still ongoing until 2024? Is that the target then? So the way that they are trying to circumnavigate this is by introducing more gas station? I don't understand. Like they own the gas station. I mean, it's owned by Pertamina. Like, I don't understand how... Oh, well. It's a problem for another day, I guess. Let's see what this means. We're still using premium. It doesn't even exist anymore. Oh well. I'm not entirely familiar with that. Anywho. What other articles can we read? So this is the article that I mentioned about House of Representative not agreeing. There's chapters with this? Okay. Out of 9 fraction, 6 of them rejects it. Okay, Gerindra, PKS, Demokrat, the usual suspects. Oh, PAN abstain. That's interesting. I would expect them to agree, to disagree. And even PDIP abstain. Huh. The only one who agreed was Nasdem. Oh, I don't have the... There you go. Sorry. We're looking at this article. Most fractions disagree. And we have the usual suspects who disagreed. The right-wing populist ones like Gerindra, PKS, and PPP and PKB. Yeah, this is Partai Demokrat. Well, Demokrat is more leaning towards that side nowadays, and Golkar is it's like, oh well, it's the popular trend, so might as well join. It is interesting that PAN, another right-wing populist party, didn't just follow the bandwagon. And most surprisingly is PDIP, which is technically Jokowi's party. So that's interesting. And the only one who approved, again, is another right-wing populist. It goes to show how unprincipled these political parties. It's like... Alright, let's see their statements. It will be interesting. So don't increase the fuel prices. Have pity on the people. Uh-huh. Oh, so this their solution. Suppose the solution is to increase the quota. But they do propose that we need to control the distribution so it's more targeted, more accurate, okay? Okay. But then, like, that's why we have the... I mean, this came out, like, recently. Right? It's like 31st of August. That's like last week. Yeah, last week. Last Wednesday. I mean, bruh. That's what we're trying to do with my Pertamina. Even though I disagree with that policy in a lot of ways. And if that's the case, then why not raise the issue about... What was it? The cash transfer. As if they don't know. Which they should. It kind of gets me thinking, like the cash transfer program. Is it like an executive order? Or did it go through Parliament? The House of Representative? La 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 la. So they argued that technically we should still be able to cover. But this assumption is the updated one. Oh, I think they got the wrong information. Wait. The current crude oil price, it's higher than 100, my guy. Right? Again, Brent crude price. Oh, right, it's 92. Okay, it's lower than the assumption. Okay, fair enough. But then the problem is not exactly whether or not the price is lower, is that whether you like it or not, the amount it's going to be much higher, much larger than the current allocation. Like we've already, I think we saw the number just now that we've increased it by 300 something. Let's see. God, it's only 16 trillion. Fuck. Okay, regardless of all of that, the fact that it mostly benefit the wealthy, that should be the key emphasis here. So, yeah, that is covering their asses because they know it will affect them. It will affect their donors, I imagine. Because like they try to feign as if they're concerned about, you know, low-income households, but oh well. Okay, hang on. Finally, someone talking about the leak, the inaccurate targeting. Sorry, the sound is a bit loud. Perceive that they don't have to. If the leak, the loophole is fixed. Okay. The government has not made any concrete steps to prevent this leaking to large industries. But that's not the main problem, though. Like, are they implying that there should be a different condition if it is used by large corporations? Then they should not benefit from the subsidy? I mean, base that's pretty cool. But what about households, though? I'm surprised that they because they already hinted at the leak, right? And at least based from the press conference, the main emphasis is on households. So I don't understand why suddenly they're talking about large industries. Excuse me, wait. Sorry, my cat. They were trying to get some food from the dining table, being the little rascals that they are. Little goblins. Let's see. Where were we? Right. They already hinted at like the subsidy loophole. And yet, based on the press conference, the main emphasis is on households. So it's interesting that they start talking about large industries, which I mean, like I'm all for it. Like if you If it is for business purposes, if it is coming from large industries, then yeah, maybe you shouldn't be benefiting from the subsidy. La 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 la. Could affect inflation, sure. Yeah, it is unfortunate that there's kind of like a domino effect. It's kind of piling up on each other. That now we have like basic commodities, the prices are increasing. Recently, egg prices were like increased, and as someone who like on a day-to-day basis would make an omelet for breakfast, yeah, I can tell the prices are much higher now. Even though, well, fortunately, it doesn't really affect me. But I imagine for other people who are reliant on this, it is definitely significant. Like, I can imagine, like, say like you're on the side of the road and you're selling fried rice that, of course, uses eggs. Or if you're selling martabak telur, then yeah, that would definitely have a significant effect on you. And yet, it's very unfortunate that... Hang on. And yet this guy... Hang on. Essentially, this guy... Oh, here it is. Like, this is the statement. This guy, the minister, said that no need to worry about it. Nothing to be concerned about. Like, fuck me, man. Although I guess now the price has decreased. Hang on, I read that just now. Oh, he claimed that the prices have started to decrease. That's just dumb. All right, next political party. Okay. It's already subsidized if you use the current price. Wait. This is an unfinished sentence, right? If we use the current price for subsidized fuel, this would provide low to middle income what? Will provide what? Fuck me. If there are changes in consumption, it will affect economic growth. Yeah, sure, okay. That's why you protect their purchasing power by providing relevant cash transfers. Like, duh. Or, again, like providing, like improving the accuracy of the budget allocation by integrating the fuel subsidy with other programs like Kartu Sembako, for instance, which as of now is only 200k per month. I understand it's a very ludicrous amount. But yeah, you could have supplemented it with this so that you can afford more fuel, for instance. And I imagine, assuming that not all low-income household relies on individual car or motorcycle ownership, then when they're provided more funds to their Kartu Sembako, they could use it for more basic commodities. So it's a win-win solution in a lot of ways. And yes, I will admit that it will disproportionately affect the middle class in this case, because then they're kind of like the people that are at the precipice of those who could comfortably afford a higher price and those who couldn't. And yeah, it is concerning in that regard. But, I mean, something to note. With the existence of this subsidy, which, again, has an insane amount of benefit for each consumption. We've seen that, like, for solar, it's like 70% or something. I forgot the exact numbers, but all of them are above 50% of the market price. So that's how much we're benefiting from the subsidy. From that alone, like, think I hinted at this at the beginning. It distorts the market by making individual car purchases more affordable, when in fact, it's not. You can only afford a car because the government made it so. And like the wider impact from this is that there's less demand for public transportation, because I can just use my own car. We don't need public transportation. And there's of course less push for walkable cities, because then you can still live in the suburbs, in gated communities, or in satellite cities and still afford going to your workplaces. And there's less push for higher wages, for instance. And yeah, it has such a wide-ranging effect just from this one stupid policy. Like I don't know. It's really unfortunate. Okay, let's keep going. Fix the distribution, okay. It is consumed by fishermen, farmers, and blah blah blah. Well, yeah, I mean, that's why we have the cash. Do they not know? Okay, like, let's open one article. Sample article that mentioned the thing. So this came out in 29th of August. This is 31st, so it came after. They should know already about this plan. About reallocating the budget for, well, reallocating, quote unquote, for cash transfer. Get a PPP, basic stuff. Okay, good to know that you're mentioning the 40% at the bottom. Okay, informal workers has reached 81 million. Okay. Like, it feels awfully convenient that only now that they start mentioning about these type of things. Does any of them mention about the cash transfer? You're talking about farmers, cool. Okay, this is the... Wait, sorry. Oops. Cool, they're mentioning about this number. The 80% thing. It needs to be adjusted. Oh, this is Nasdem. They're the only ones who agreed. Cool. Yay. This is also an interesting remark to make. It's unfair. How about those who don't have a vehicle? Thank you. So it needs to be reallocated to those who don't have a vehicle. Pretty based. Wow. Okay. Was not expecting this from Nasdem of all political parties. Damn. Okay. Pop off. Okay, so there's that. Sorry, wait. Let's read this one. There are other options instead, aside from increasing fuel prices. Sorry, I'm reading a lot from assumpsi. Exactly what I mean. It's assumpsi. So. Even though I understand that when you look at their YouTube, their interviews, they tend to be very surface level. But, well, at least their articles are pretty good. Sorry. So the option that they can consider is to provide the wage subsidy for workers that earn under 3.5 million. I think that's one of the solutions that they end up going for, right? They provide a 600k if I'm not mistaken. Although again, it's not as inclusive because we're talking about those that are employed. It's tied to employment status, but how about those that are unemployed? So we got a person from core. Instead of increasing the subsidy, instead of increasing the price, wait. Oh, tidak bisa, tidak mereka. Okay, this is very weird wording. They argued that... Sorry, I think they missed the word here. They could not increase the prices. Instead of increasing the price, they could choose a middle ground by introducing a new type of fuel. Oh, come on. I'm trying to bring back premium. Is that what you're implying here? Okay, we can limit Pertalite to only public transportation or motorcycles. Whereas for individual car ownership, they could use a new type of fuel. That's the idea of introducing Pertalite in the first place. You're basically replacing Pertalite, changing Pertalite into premium, and then introducing a new fuel again between Pertalite and Pertamax. It's like the same shit all over again. Although granted that there's more limitation on who could consume Pertalite, which is favorable. But like, I don't know. There is a statistic that Faris mentioned in the Twitter, on his Twitter, on car ownership. Yeah. That if you own a car, most people who own a car, there's a very huge disparity in terms of car ownership. Like the bottom 40%, for the most part, they don't own a car. So it would make sense if we limit the consumption to only motorcycles, because then chances are if you are part of the bottom 40%, then you would only own a motorcycle instead of a car. But yeah, nevertheless, it's still like, I guess in this case, they're still implying that we need to change the subsidy scheme to make it more accurate. So that's nice. So that we limit the consumption for Pertalite. But they're trying to say that we should not increase the price as well. I don't know how that would work. Oh, they keep Pertalite. Right, and then we introduce a new type of fuel, which is closer, if not aligned with market rate. Okay, maybe that could work. Okay, for the new one at 10,000, which is the current Pertalite price. Sorry. If you... Oh god, my limp. Oh, come on, stay there. Stay there. Stay there. My limp mic stand. If you can't introduce a new product, then don't increase it at all. Then let the subsidy budget inflate. Okay. Because the current condition, given the current condition, it's unwise to add more burden to the people. Okay, so we increase our debt. Okay. I guess that is one way, but again, given the condition that most people who benefit from the subsidy are wealthy people, I think there are other ways that are more productive than this. Oh, see, like they get 600k, like I mentioned. Okay, let's read that as well. Okay, we're starting to talk about the cash transfer now, I guess. Although maybe before that, let's see. I'm curious about this one. Why is this not a favorable policy to push? So it's about the pros and cons of limiting the purchase of Pertalite. How's the implementation? Oh, it's a video. Oh. Okay. Let's give it a listen. It's mainstream media, so it's going to be pretty dull, I imagine. Let's pause the music. How do I play? Okay, there we go.
Untuk menyesuaikan pembelian BBM sesuai dengan jenis kendaraannya, karena memang sehingga tidak bergantung kepada BBM jenis Pertalite, meskipun harganya memang jauh lebih murah dibandingkan dengan BBM lainnya. Karena pada prinsipnya BBM bersubsidi.
I'm sorry about the ringing sound at the end. I don't know why.
Ini seharusnya diterima oleh masyarakat yang berhak menerima subsidi. Dengan begitu artinya salah satu kriteria yang bisa atau yang tidak bisa membeli BBM jenis subsidi Pertalite ini ialah kendaraan yang termasuk golongan kendaraan mewah dan juga kendaraan yang berplat merah. Adapun memang saat ini pemerintah bersama PT Pertamina tengah menggodok aturan teknis soal pembelian BBM penugasan jenis Pertalite, di mana pembelian BBM jenis Pertalite ini rencananya akan dibatasi sesuai dengan kriteria konsumen yang berhak. Memang selama ini pemerintah sudah menggelontorkan dana cukup banyak untuk mensubsidi BBM jenis Pertalite ini. Bahkan pemerintah telah menambah atau mengantongi tambahan belanja untuk subsidi BBM dan LPG sebesar 71,8 triliun rupiah, di mana alokasi dana itu didapat sesuai kesepakatan dengan Banggar DPR RI pada 19 Mei 2022 kemarin. Dana tersebut salah satunya ini akan diberikan kepada Pertalite atau jenis BBM khusus penugasan JBKP agar harganya ini masih tertahan di 7.500
Where's the cons? What the fuck? Okay, this is useless. Fuck off. All right. 2 more articles about the subsidy. One from Conversation, another one from Faisal Basri. Then we'll move on to the cash transfer. Okay, Conversation. How can the government protect the marginalized low-income household? Per 2022 March, okay, poverty rate is below 10%. That's good. The drop is driven by growth. I hate the fact that it's linked to coal exports, which, okay, fine. With the global economic recovery, that drives our exports. So we benefit from that. Especially as countries like Germany, for instance, have to resort to other energy means aside from coal. Okay. Growth, economic growth generally lowers poverty rate in developing countries. However, the rate of growth, hang on, the music is gone. Let's play that again. Beep. However, the rate of growth can have different impacts under different conditions, depending on the extent to which people, people with low income participate in the growth process. Yeah, that is a good point. Like when we talk about GDP growth and whatnot, to what extent do low income households represent the pie in that? At least the growth of the pie, to be precise, because if they are in large parts alienated from that growth, then it doesn't really change their material condition. Oops, this is one of the loud music. Hang on. This is only one of the reasons why nowadays I generally move away from these crude indicators like GDP. They have their uses, of course, but for the most part, like, okay, GDP has increased, but what does that do to your average Joe? To what extent it lowers poverty rate or unemployment levels, average wages even, or median wage, stuff like that. Because sure, even let's say if it doesn't reduces poverty levels, which in the case of Indonesia, generally the trend has been decreasing, but at the same time, inequality has increased as well. I think this is one of the things that, what was it? Indo Progress mentioned? Yeah, that, hang on, let me bring it up because I think it's in my, I think I bookmarked the damn thing. I think it's from 40% to 70%, which is an insane amount. Let's see. Give me a moment. If I could find the damn article. There it is. Okay, cool. So, it shows here the gap between the bottom 50% and the top 10%. The gap increased from 11 times to 19 times. And if it's between the bottom 50% and the top 1%, it's 40 to 75 times. And yeah, that's crazy, honestly. I would love if we can get the number. Like, oh, it's based on the World Inequality Report. Okay. Like, I would love to see the numbers. Say, like, what's the average wealth of someone at the top 1% compared to those at the bottom 50%? That would be nice. Or if you could get, like, average expenditure as well. Because that can be another metric that you can monitor. But yeah, it's crazy. Anywho, why were we talking about this? I honestly forgot. Are we talking about... Oh, the budget reallocation. Okay, cool. Oh, we're talking about this. Right. Okay. Right. Yeah, participation, that's a good point. subsidi belum tentu bisa menangani gejolak perekonomian yang terjadi. Per 1 July, increase the electricity base rate, which is a good thing because we're definitely falling behind from the BPP, the average cost of generation. Increase of coal price becomes the main factor. Okay. Which I don't quite understand. Okay. So they're claiming that one of the main factors why they increase the base rate for electricity is because of increase in coal prices. When, to my understanding, for DMO, under the DMO policy, the domestic market obligation for coal, for power plants, the prices are capped at $70 per ton. So if the market prices are above $70, then the government will still purchase it at $70. If it is lower than $70, then it will follow the market rate, as unlikely that may be. So yeah, I'm not sure how this applies exactly. I forgot what's the law for that regulates it. But yeah, I vividly remember that it is capped at 70 for power plants, domestic power plants. It's not sustainable, okay. Since there's no guarantee that the benefit... Okay. So the World Bank is also aware of how the fuel subsidy disproportionately benefit the wealthy. And there you go, basic stuff. The World Bank encourages that the subsidy is redirected to cash transfers, to social welfare, including to aspiring middle class. That's cool. It contradicts, blah blah. It's better to reallocate the subsidy, yes. It's pretty basic stuff. Yeah, what's this study? From Smeru. Okay, it takes a while to load. Let's just leave it there for now. The study found that temporary programs tend to cause hardship and uncertainty or social conflicts. Okay. Oh, so this considers a variety of programs for poverty alleviation. This is something worth reading. I kind of like Smeru. Surprised that I haven't heard anything from Chips, especially given the recent price hike for basic commodities, for food specifically, because I thought that they specialize on those. Oh, different article. Okay. Unconditional cash transfer? What is this? I've never heard about this one. Oh, is it? This is different to PKH. PKH is Keluarga Harapan. Okay, this is something worth reading later on, I guess. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm feeling a bit tired. Oh, it's like there's a sugar crash or something. It's just dropped. Oh, God. I think we've learned quite a lot though. Yeah. Specifically on the severity of the situation. And as expected, the general responses are very surface level. Wait, oh, sorry. I'm referring to the responses from the other politicians. I'm sorry. Suddenly I'm feeling a bit unwell. Like there's a sudden fatigue. But yeah, I think we've covered the basis that okay, the prices have increased, which includes for Pertamax as well, even though for the other unsubsidized fuels such as Pertamax Turbo, Dexlite, and Pertamina Dex, the prices have decreased, which okay, that's fair enough. I mean, I'm assuming that they follow the market rate, although maybe it doesn't change as regularly. But they're more closely aligned to market rates. Otherwise, Sri Mulyani would have mentioned that, I imagine. And there's gonna be another loud music. So and then when I'm that. Okay, hang on. Let me construct my thoughts first. So we've established that the prices have increased since yesterday. It's interesting that they announced it specifically at 1:30 and 2:30 or something like that. The prices were quite significant, like 30% on average, if I'm not mistaken. And it's bound to have a pretty significant effect on people, especially since due to our car independent or individual vehicle ownership dependent infrastructure, it's gonna have a wide-ranging impact. Although it's unfortunate considering that technically we could have prevented all this if we've been gradually increasing the fuel prices instead of having it happen in one go, like what's going on right now. Understandably, that why all of this happened in this unfortunate moment is because of the conflict between Russia and Ukraine. It could have been prevented if it's done gradually, so the people can gradually adjust to the changes as we catch up with the market rate, whilst also preparing the policy, the subsidy itself, so that once it reached that like that point where it's closer to market rate, then we can completely reallocate the subsidy so it's for cash transfer or make it specifically targeted for low-income households. I'm sure that there are transition periods where we can play around with in terms of the policy and the targets and the form of the policy, but alas, here we are. So there's no point of crying over spilled milk. I think that's the term, right? That's the idiom. That's the saying. So there's that. And the government has decided to try to make up for it by introducing by expanding the cash transfer. Albeit, I don't think it's barely enough. I think one of them is 150k provided 4 times across 4 periods. I'm not sure like which program does that fall in. Oh, it's the BLT, right? Not the sandwich. Again, it's Bantuan Langsung Tunai. It's like direct cash transfer. Also, there's the 600k wage subsidy, which okay, fair game, but again, that amount is not sufficient. IMO. I think we saw something from that Zulkifli guy. He mentioned about why not just provide 1 million per month for low-income households. Actually, let's try to find that statement. That guy, for all of his blunders, Maybe it's like 5 times the charm. There you go. Let's open this. Oh, it's on the next page. Wait. Oh, no wonder it's too big. That's what she said. So in here, he said that, why don't we pay people with low income 1 million per month, which is a pretty base take. Just provide 1 million. This is more effective. He considered it to be more effective instead of providing fuel subsidy and compensation, which has now reached 500 trillion. And yeah, that's a valid point. Finally, something good came out from this person's mouth. But yeah. Okay, let's see. So he opined that it needs to be balanced with social aid like BLT. Oh, he recommended the 600K. But then hang on. Let's see. So they're provided 150K 4 times. So it's like a one-time thing. It's not going to be regular, which is unfortunate. I don't think I fully agree with the proposition here. Why not make it regular? Because like even past that point, people would still need that aid regardless. I thought the whole point is to improve the accuracy of the subsidy. If that's the case, then why not make it a regular thing? Like, okay, each month they will receive 600K, 150K per week, which is dog shit, is jack shit, granted, but I don't know. Like, I think it will need more clarity. Like, is this a one-time thing? Is it one-off? Because if it is, then I don't know. There's another 600K. Well, not another, but there's also 600K for workers who earn at max 3.5 million per month. Yeah. Anywho, okay, Stunlock. Is the right direction, but the amount should definitely be increased for sure. 600K is definitely not enough for 1 month. It would have been nice. Because like I imagine if they based it on average consumption, because they do have the consumption data, right? They know the amount of fuel that these low-income households consume. That's how they were able to get the numbers that, oh, the amount of subsidy, like it's less than 30% that goes to low-income household. They should know the consumption levels. It could have been used as a good basis to know the amount of aid that could have been provided for them. Say like maybe 50% of them is covered by the government, even 70%. I'm not sure how we can exactly parse out the numbers, but I think we can come up with one if we have the right data, which they do. But oh well, here we are. Hopefully they will expand that even further, like in the future. We'll see. There's that. Yeah. By the end of the day, I'm in favor with this move, with this decision to increase the fuel prices. Again, it's long overdue. Although I will admit that it would have been nice if they tried to balance things out in terms of protecting low-income households in better ways. In terms of better ways, it's not like I disapprove the policy, but it's more like the amount, the benefit that's being provided. It's not proportionate to the potential impact that they might incur. So yeah, I guess we'll see, huh? Like, I saw some articles about people protesting. I think if there's anything that could get people unilaterally riled up is fuel prices. So I guess we'll see. We're gonna have to cover the remaining articles that I wanted to read later on, maybe on Thursday, or if I have a roughly chill day, I might stream like a bonus stream. That would be nice, probably. But yeah, I think I have to call it now, because again, I'm admittedly beset by tiredness, as Vosh would say. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Oh, this happens to play. Is this the ending music? No, it's not. Sorry, it's a different music. Or is it? Is it mycelium? No, it's not. Okay, it's a different one. But yeah, that's been interesting. Like actually learning the actual numbers, the processes, and to see Sri Mulyani in the press conference. And as I've mentioned, it's interesting to see her getting all riled up and getting pissed because they know already about this. It's because of this unfortunate moments that now they could use that information as a justification for the price hike. I hate that, but oh well, here we are. Oops. Okay. I'll stream again when I can. Hopefully before Thursday, but definitely next Thursday. Let's try to make this regular. I know I keep saying that, but well. Thank you so much for watching. If you happen to stop by watching the VOD, hope you enjoyed it as well. Feel free. Hope you can join during the next stream. And make sure to leave a like as well. And if you're a new viewer, feel free to subscribe as well. Aside from doing these political stuff, I also do gaming. Actually, most of my content goes to gaming. And yeah. And I do want to do some gaming stream as well next time. Like initially, I thought that I would have enough time to play Elden Ring. I wanted to fight for Dawn, but I guess we'll have to save that for another time. So yeah. Thank you so much for watching. Boo Boo, as always, thank you for your support. Alia, thank you for stopping by. Good night, everyone. Enjoy the rest of the day, okay? Take care. Like the stream.